24 million Americans will see more than a doubling in their health care premiums. You have a president who today said to the military, wouldn't it be a good idea if we could start practicing military exercises by invading cities in America? 50,000 Americans a year will die unnecessarily because they can't get to a doctor.
I really want to hop into this Bernie Sanders segment on CNN. It was a few days ago, but the points still hold relevant today as he discusses the Democrats and why they're opposing the budget that led to the government shutdown and what's all at stake in this battle with MAGA here. So take a moment, leave us a like on the video, helps us out a ton, lets us know you enjoy the content, and let's see what's being discussed.
Just today, there was a report that came out from the Kaiser Family Foundation. This is what they said. 24 million Americans will see more than a doubling in their health care premiums. You know what that means? People in Vermont and around the country cannot afford health care right now.
So they just won't have health care.
They won't have health care. And on top of that, what the Republicans did in Trump's big, beautiful bill is to throw 15 million Americans off of the health insurance they have. Another study came out, University of Pennsylvania, Yale. You know what that is? They say that 50,000 Americans a year will die unnecessarily because they can't get to a doctor.
I mean, if you ask me, all of that stuff sounds like a prescient fight to have. And MAGA knows this, right? And we know they know this because they're trying instead desperately to make it about a lie that they've created about Democrats wanting undocumented immigrants to be given health care rather than discuss the substance of what the Democrats are arguing. You only do that if you've lost the substance, which is why also, I mean, it's just debunked in looking at what the Democrats have proposed. You can see right here in what they'll point to this and they'll say the page, but they won't ever show it because if you read it, you'll see that it says lawful, those who are lawfully here. Multiple times it reiterates this, which is why these clowns are just saying these things but not showing any specifics because they don't have them. If you have specifics, you show them, right? What they really want is to allow tens of thousands of Americans to unnecessarily die each year, millions to have their healthcare costs increased unnecessarily. Also, the rich can get that extra little bit of tax cuts that they don't want to do away to prevent it. Disgusting.
No sane person wants to see a government shutdown. People are going to be hurt, and that bothers me very, very much. But if we allow the Republicans to simply not negotiate and to throw 15 million people off of health care and to double premiums for 20 million people, that will cause even more harm. And by the way, on top of all of that, you have a president who today said to the military, wouldn't it be a good idea if we could start practicing military exercises by invading cities in America, who is threatening the media. So you have a movement toward authoritarianism that we have to address as well. This, Caitlin, is a very difficult moment in the modern history of this country. I think probably as dangerous as any time since the Civil War period. And I think what the American people are saying, this is not business as usual. We got to stand up. We got to fight back.
It's simple. The government is set up to operate in a bipartisan fashion, even when one party has majority. Like one party has to really mess up and lose power to be out of negotiations completely, as you often don't win and hold 60 Senate seats. This is what requires both sides to come together, where the majority party has leverage. That's kind of why you vie so hard in these elections, but you still have to make some sort of concessions. And we're seeing for the first time in a long time, Republicans just say no. One party in this set of negotiations is just saying, no, you take what we give you or we're not playing ball. They feel like because they won, they literally don't have to do democracy anymore. Like they're not even really trying to hide that. And if Democrats refuse to go along with it, well, they'll let the government shut down. They'll fire workers unnecessarily. They'll send troops to blue states, open investigations into Democrat politicians, and use any authoritarian means they can to get you to shut up and force compliance. This is what we're currently seeing playing out. And rather than yell fascism when they see it, MAGA is just hand wiping it and pretending it doesn't matter.
One thing I've heard from the White House is that the budget director, Russ Vought over there, is basically ready to go if the government is shut down, canceling programs they don't like, laying off federal workers. Are you worried about that?
Of course I'm worried about it, but that's what they've been doing already. You remember when Musk was running Doge, we're going to throw out 83,000 employees who work for the Veterans Administration. And that's a very nice way to treat the men and women who are veterans of this country, who put their lives on the line to defend us, cutting Social Security positions. They're doing it already. Give you one more example. You may have seen this, I'm sure you did. I think it was yesterday. Trump says, well, if Mr. Mamdani becomes the mayor of New York City, well, you know what? I'm going to cut funding to New York City. Well, that's great. You cut funding to any city, any state that you don't like. Well, not only is that illegal, not only is that unconstitutional, it's outrageous. Every state in this country contributes money into the federal budget. You can't pick and choose who you want to fund.
Right. And even further on that point, it really is blue cities and blue states that carry the weight in funding the federal government. Red states are poor. They are piss poor from terrible red economic policies, and they often have to be subsidized by the much more economically efficient blue states, where red states literally do the socialism, not the actual socialism, but the socialism that they pretend is socialism that they hate, which is just getting more handouts from the government than they pay in. Meanwhile, blue states pay in more than they receive, yet Trump is funding or threatening the funding through the likes of the blue cities, the blue states that pay more than they receive, and not the red states that receive more than they pay. He's also doing it to, massive colleges and institutions in blue cities. And again, the tourism revenue for these cities as well. I think it's pretty clear to anyone with the least bit of common sense as to what's actually going on here. And it's the same things MAGA was crying about for 3 years and pretending they cared about so much when it helped them do Democrat bad. Now, can anyone tell me why they might not care that much anymore? Almost as if they never really did.